What's going on, everybody? Just Brendan here. We're going to try to ride the wave of good luck that I'm having at the outlet. So we're headed up to the bins. We might hit a thrift store or two. We might do a giveaway or two. I don't know how it's all going to play out. You're just going to have to stay tuned. All right, we are in the picked over shoes, but I found a pair of Air Max here that look like they're pretty clean, all things considered. Now, I've already thrown them in the wash, got them listed. I'm going to be aggressive on my price. We'll talk about why that is in just a second, but you can see me testing the air pockets, making sure that there are no holes. This also, when I throw them in the wash, you can see if they bubble up on the inside of those air pockets, then we know there's a hole. They did not, so they were good and clean. As for pricing, and these are Air Max 95s, the colorway silhouette is triple black, so that is 092. The model number is 609048-092. For Nike, the first 6 numbers are the style, the last 3 are the colorway code, and I'm listing them at $35 because they had a little bit of wear towards the heel on the bottom sole there, so I'm going to leave the price pretty aggressive, where when you see the comparables, you can see them selling in the $50-$60 range, which is where they would have been if they would have been in a little better condition. Those Crocs I'm going to leave behind because of that. That looked like maybe like a little bite mark. I'm not even sure what that was on the front, but those would have been a good pickup because we're at the bins, super light, but I'm being very, very picky here with a couple of things. This same thing here with this pair of Air Max. I didn't think that it would take me more than or take me less than a couple of minutes to clean those insoles, even if I throw them in the wash. They were just too beat up for me to make a move on them. So the white in and of itself I could have gotten clean, but I was worried about the insole, so I'm leaving both of those behind. We'll move over to clothes, but I do like the Air Max that I grabbed, so 35 bucks there. Express leather jackets, it's genuine leather. I'm gonna pass on it. And hey, you guys ever find money in a garment? Well, I found $20. Unfortunately, if you look close, look really close, it says motion picture purposes. It's a fake $20 bill. Like, what a tease, right? Just sitting in the pocket right there. Like, why is that even in there? Like, what's the story behind that? That's so silly. Like, this wasn't staged. This like happened live too. There's people like standing around going, "Oh, you found money," and I'm like, "Nah, that didn't happen." Regarding the bolo, that is or is not express leather coats, I didn't like the listings to solds ratio, so I'm going to leave that behind. We're going to move over to hard goods. I love this little guy, though. So this is a Boss Baby plush, and he is, I forget what year it is from, but it's talking. Does it say on the back there? I can't see. 2017. But he talks. You just squeeze him, and he, like, says lines from the original movie. That's a good pickup right there, especially at the bins, right? Because it's super light. So I've seen some listed for $30, $40, and the last one I saw sold for $35. So I think that's probably where I'll end up listing that one as well, $35. But if you see Boss Baby plush, especially ones that talk, do yourself a favor and look them up because it looks like they're a pretty consistent seller. Not every one of them will sell for $30, $40, $50 pre-owned, but do yourself a favor and look them all up because that looks like a good hit right there. So I'll take that. Yeah, there was a little bit of discoloration on the back of the part of his clothing, but I think I can either clean that or just disclose it and still get $35 for it since it works and it's relatively clean. So we'll check the rest of these plush here. I've had some good plush sales and then some like really, I don't know, like small, we're talking $9, $10 plush sales, which I'm not afraid to pick up. There's been a couple that I've sold recently. One of them was a Chick-fil-A plush that I did find here that I sold for $89, but I mean, it was so light. The sold comparables looked like it would sell eventually, and it did. So I'm not afraid to pick up the $9 or $10 bills. But on this specific trip, I'm trying to be a little bit more picky here. Like this VeggieTales one, it had the tags to it. It probably still need to be cleaned if I was going to list it new. So that was probably going to be pre-owned, but there were no good solds on it. So I'm gonna leave that behind. Same with this one too. I forget what her little name was. This Halloween Beanie Boo plush, but no real good solds on that, so I'm leaving her behind as well. This was a pretty good pickup. There were actually a lot of vinyl records that came out this rotation. This is a fairly new rotation that came out. I grabbed a couple of records here. This is Steely Dan, Can't Buy a Thrill. I think this is from 1972, and the record was very clean. This looks like, if I can mark it, very good plus condition, both the album cover and the album itself. It looks like I could get a minimum of $25 for that, so that's a great find. Vinyl records are super light. and we're paying by the pound here, so that makes it even better. Wings Over America. These all, first of all, there's a minimum of 2, but there's actually 3 records in here. I don't know if the third one is supposed to go with what we've got going on here, but all 3 of them looked like they were in a pretty, I would say, fair to poor condition. It might not look like that through the iPhone here, but there were scrapes and scratches and things that I was noticing that I didn't really want to deal with, so I left that one behind. Someone might have picked it up after me, but we had a good number of vinyl records come out, and those were just the 2 that I could get my hands on. I think there were some other really nice records that some other people were able to grab. So vinyl records are still a very good pickup. I just sold that Dog Blood one, Skrillex. I sold that for in between $21 and $22, but because I haven't been picking them up religiously or finding them religiously, I haven't been selling as many, but they're still it's a great market. You can see lots of stores focusing their store displays on vinyl records. So the market's really big right now, and I even believe that CDs are, I wouldn't say, it's hard for me to say making a comeback because, that was my generation, but it seems like there is a resurgence in people buying the physical CDs as well, so keep that in mind. Can't really say that this hat is a bolo hat. The hat rotation came out. The brand here is H-Hill 3. They're just a small batch clothing manufacturer from Miami Gardens. They're known for this Savage hat, and then they make another style hat that plays off of the Friends show. It's called Zero Friends, so the hat is done in their style. That hat's going to get me maybe $15 if it gets me $15 at all. So if you're new, I wouldn't put that on your radar, but we're at the bins and it's cheap, and honestly it was probably the best hat that I could find in this rotation out of everything. So pretty light on the bags, and a lot of times when you go to the bins, it's just being in the right spot at the right time and things sort of fall into your lap. But for me, this rotation, nothing seemed to work, and any spot that I moved in, I just couldn't really turn anything up. So sometimes that is just the luck of the draw. Your experience may vary. So even though I might have had a slow day at the bins, it doesn't necessarily mean that you would. So I still always encourage you to try the bins. You really never know what's going to turn up there. It's basically a brand new treasure hunt every time. I do find some similar things here. I like to focus on hats and t-shirts, things that are a little bit light, that max out my time, max out my value. When we're calculating things at the end, but you never know. You might find something. You might know something that I don't. I found this case here, Tory Burch sunglasses. Shout out to you, Brittany. I gave this to her because I've got a couple of cases that I still have to list. So this was pretty clean, great looking. I think she was going to use this. Would you say you were going to put your personal pair in there? I say put the personal pair in there and sell them, but that's just me. But I gave that away. Probably the best find, even better than the hat that I found this rotation. So we're going to move out of here and go back into some of the clothing. And I found a pretty reliable seller right here. Carhartt's usually always a good seller. There's a lot of new with tags Carhartt on eBay, I can tell. But this is a pair of flame-resistant pants. They're a size 32-30 and, not a $50 seller. It's more like $25, but a very consistent brand to sell, and especially if we're talking about the flame-resistant clothing. I feel like the market is starting to catch up if we're talking about supply with a lot of the Carhartt brand. But when it comes to the flame-resistant stuff, whatever, especially pre-owned, it still sells really, really well. It actually sells. There's just more of it pre-owned on the market than you do find brand new with tags. So that'll be an easy seller right there. Again, $25 on that. And then we're going to dig through the rest of this to see if maybe there's something towards the bottom. I really like to pull from the bottom, especially when the new clothing comes out, because I think a lot of people skim off of the top, especially when new rotations land and they let us go. And then that's sort of where some of the diamonds are hidden. So I like to kind of go from bottom to top first where I can. I'm actually going to grab this Tommy Bahama silk shirt too. I mean, I'll probably list it for $25. I think that's the cap for these shirts. Tommy Bahama has seen its day, so a lot of them on the market, but $20 to $25 on that one. All right, we're going to switch gears and head into a retail store. I did okay. I was only there maybe an hour and a half. I've got $150, $200 worth of stuff, but I had to cut it short because it was going kind of slow, and I was doing a bunch of talking and not a ton of working. So we're going to walk into the retail store. Let's see if I can do any better here. The Halloween items are starting to hit the shelves finally inside the thrift stores here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm pretty sure that you can go right down the road. There's a Big Lots a couple doors down. I think they sell them for $2, $3, but they have these marked at $6. Little candle holders, votive holders, whatever you want to call those. Probably out of my price range for that type of stuff. So we're going to leave all those behind. But yeah, they're $2 at like Garden Ridge, Big Lots. You could probably find something similar at Ollie's. Anyway, check this out. This is the first time that I've ever seen a fake Lululemon. Now, there's going to be some of you out there that have seen this before. This is the first time it's ever crossed my eyes. So what did that say? Sport Pro? But you can tell that design was very specific to Lululemon. In fact, some of the way the garment was manufactured was done so to look very, very similar to them. This is the first time that I've ever kind of seen something like this. Has anyone else seen fake Lululemon? Yeah, so of course that caught my eye naturally, but that's very clearly not that brand. So I'm gonna move on here. I love picking up items like this because they're just super boring, right? It looks like a router. It's a signal extender, Nokia, T-Mobile. I think they have it marked $10. It has the Ethernet cable. It's got the power cord attached to it. This is actually a pretty desirable model. So for $10, I'll end up listing mine for $40, which I think is pretty aggressive price-wise. They sell sometimes even $50, $60 pre-owned, but for $10, it's a pretty good deal. But this type of stuff is pretty boring, and I think it gets overlooked by resellers often. And so there's an opportunity there if you're willing to test the items out and just take a chance on maybe a category that you don't normally take advantage of. These kinds of items, I think, turn up often in the stores, and they're not marking them up. I mean, I know $10 seems a little bit high, but there's a lot of things that are marked up high in this store lately, so it is what it is. But 10 on 40, you should never pass on that. So I'm going to run with it here, and this rack marks the return of an old friend here. So we're going to see here in just a second. I think those are Adidas pants. We've got a hoodie coming up, and it is Patagonia, and I was actually very surprised at the quality level of this hoodie. So this is a Seabrook hoodie, purple color obviously. It's a woman's size medium. These are the types of garments that after a couple of washes you start to notice like pilling sometimes, and they get kind of beat up in the wash process. This, however, feels really nice. I don't know how many times this thing's been through the wash, but very, very high quality. And then I was pleasantly surprised when I looked up the comp. So I see about maybe 8 of these hoodies listed using the Seabrook keyword, and then 7 or 8 had sold in the last 90 days. So I'm pretty sure that this is going to sell, and the prices were even better. I think I'm still going to stay aggressive and maybe list mine at $35. I see some have sold in the $45 range. I've got a unique color, so maybe I could push it up to 40 or 45. I think I'm going to sit at 35. It's only going to cost me $5, but that means that we're going to be doing a giveaway for subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that button because we will be doing a giveaway in this video. Next, really lucky here on a pair of Rothy's. Now, certain Rothy's styles are a hard sell. This is one of them. It's a great size, women's size 8, made in China. So we're looking like pretty authentic here. If it said made in the USA, we'd have issues, but camo, size 8, this is Rothy's, the sneaker. These are hard sellers right now. So the prices are kind of stabilizing, coming down with supply catching up. I'm going to have to be aggressive and list mine, I think, around probably $35 to $40. I'm going to put them in there at 40 and we'll see what happens, but they are not as in demand and aren't commanding the prices that they used to. Save some of the very rare styles, which will always kind of hold their value. Exceptions to the rule anytime we're talking about an item like this. So prices coming down, I'm going to adjust accordingly, and we're going to put those in there at $40. Trust me, I want to list them at 80, but it's just not looking like they would sell that quick. This guy here, this is pretty cool. Unfortunately, he was totally unmarked, so it's like a Fu Manchu Tiki mug vase. And when I went to do the sold comparables, Orchids of Hawaii was one of the brands that came up often for this, but I don't see that stamp anywhere on this mug. And so what are we looking at here? Maybe I can sell it for $15 since it's unmarked. We don't know what brand it is, and it's going to cost me $4. I don't think this is something that I'm really interested in picking up, so I'm going to leave it behind. I don't think it's the right buying decision. I mean, maybe it would sell for $15. Tiki items in general do not turn up in my area, in my experience, that often, so maybe it just I should have picked it up just because you don't see these things that often, but I want to make the sale, and I don't think 4 on 15 for that item being unmarked makes a ton of sense. There were other off-brand marks like DW118 is one of the key words that I would see marked on some of those Fu Manchu Tiki mugs, but we're just going to leave it behind. What I believe is going to happen is there are better items that are going to turn up here, so let's leave that go. I love these chairs. I mean, I think if we were not coming into fall season, like maybe that would have been a good buy, but I'm going to grab this here for $8. This is an egg chair from IKEA. The style is Lomsk, Lomsk. I haven't seen a red one sell in 2 years going into Terapeak, but they do sell. Yes, it's going to be a bear to ship because it's a little bit on the larger side. So it's got red with like the orange cover. No holes in the cover, very clean, probably just used as a display piece more than anything. There's like a little Velcro strap that has to go through there. Everything looks like it's working properly, and we'll test the swivel here in just a second. But the average sales price of these pre-owned, and the majority of the ones that I noticed that were sold were the white color. I saw an orange one, there's a blue one, but I haven't seen a red sell in 2 years, so maybe I've got something unique. It's about $140. That's what I'll end up listing that for. Going to be hard to ship. It is what it is. And then the last thing here, Dribble Up. It's a smart basketball. So you put this app on your phone and your kids can join training sessions live on the phone as they video themselves dribbling. And it like measures your performance. Like it measures how you do with your weekend. It measures your dribbling speed. It's very interesting. I've never seen these before, but boy, are they hot sellers. So I'm going to list that one for $45. But if you see Dribble Up basketballs, grab them. There's not very many listed relative to how many have sold in the last 90 days. So that's going to be a great seller. And I've got 2 of them there. Checking the rest of this bucket to see if there's anything surprising. I don't see anything here. So we're going to roll with the 2 that we have and move on from there. I was just about to photograph this, and I was like, you know what, I might as well just give this away, right? Let's just keep the Patagonia theme going. So this is a Patagonia Cinchilla. Actually, let me show you the tag here. Patagonia Cinchilla, a woman's size large. They call this the marsupial. It looks like it's a half zip. I don't know what the value is, $30, $40, $50, something like that. A good size, and the manufacturer's color on this is natural, but this is gonna be the giveaway item today in this video. So make sure you leave a comment here. We will talk about what the question is in just a second, but this looks like it's in pretty good condition here. It's like a couple of fuzzies. I'll try to take care of that before I ship it out to one of you subscribers. But yeah, let's give away some Patagonia. I got enough of it. All right, so what is everybody going to be for Halloween? Are you dressing up? What's the costume this year? And if you're not dressing up, your kids, maybe their kids, somebody you know, just pick a costume. I don't know what my oldest wants to be now that I think about it. I'll probably have to ask her that when she gets home from school today. My youngest wants to be Princess Peach. I think we're pretty nailed down in that regard. I was Ghostface last year. I'd like to be Michael Myers this year. I don't know if the kids are going to tolerate that, but I like to go to the scary stuff. But what are you going to be for Halloween? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and then I will pick a winner in the next video from the comments in this one, and we'll give away the Patagonia. Brendan here, Dad Planet, the One Man Show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we will see you in the next video.